We will now observe a moment of silence. And in that silence, let's also acknowledge the unfortunate passing of the Mayor of Sarah Bartman, Councillor Skaran Jadai, the former ambassador to the UK, Ms. Lindiwe Mabuza, Mr. Ismail Ibrahim, the netball players from Owar Tambo that unfortunately also lost their lives in the tragic accident, as well as MPLs that have lost loved ones during this time, and all our staff. May their souls rest in peace. You may be seated. Honourable members, we will all know that today is a hybrid sitting, and I must say that I am surprised with all that I see. I thought I would see at least 27 Chief Whip and Deputy Chief Whip, but I see that people are very cautious of the new variant that we are having, and I thought there will be a rush to be in the House, seeing that it's one of those last sessions, Honourable Van Boegenrode, that is taking place before we close as the legislature. To those who are joining us on the Teams, we welcome you. But before we start and commence with our business of the day, I would like to take this opportunity to lay down some ground rules that will assist in facilitating our virtual sitting. Members are once again reminded that this is a formal sitting of the legislature, and therefore all the standing rules of the legislature applies. We further note that the Rules Committee has adopted these rules for the virtual sittings. I am aware that there are people who might be connected to this hybrid chamber and who are not members of the legislature. These people are entitled to observe the proceedings as they would have in a physical sitting, but please, to our guests, you may not participate. Furthermore, you are all humbly requested to remain muted at times and not to switch on the camera except for those members who would be speaking. Members must keep their cell phones and other devices on silent throughout the proceedings. Kindly indicate to the speaker via message in the chat box or the raise of your hand option when you want to be recognized. And as a word of advice, members are requested to always check the appropriateness of the background for their videos and also to dress decently. Honourable members, this has now become almost the norm when members would want to speak, but their surroundings are not conducive to the setting. The Microsoft Teams platform can now accommodate 1,000 people, where we previously could just accommodate something like 250. And these proceedings are also being streamed live on YouTube to accommodate those who cannot be accommodated in the Teams platform. Honourable members, we will now start with the business of the House, and we will start in terms of the protocol first with motions. I have the following motions that I have received from the Honourable Chief Whip. As well, will then be followed by the EFF, the DA, and then the Deputy Chief Whip in that order. Honourable Chief Whip, over to yourself.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Greetings to you and the Premier, as well as the Executive Committee members and the entirety of the honourable members of this legislature. Madam Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 130 that despite the provisions of the standing rules of procedure of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, that the House approves a change on starting times of the House as follows. on the 7th and 9th December 2021 for the House to start at 10. I so move.
Honorable members, I put the motion without notice. No, honorable members, we want to hear them. Everybody wants to hear you. At least you are in the House. Thank you, honorable members. Chief Whip, back to you.
Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 128, subsection 1 and 129, that the House, one notes and mourns the passing away of the executive mayor Apartment and ASN that person, Comrade Mvoko, Eric Scala, that died. Comrade Scala emerged within the ranks of the youth structure of the mass democratic movement to be amongst the notable leaders of our glorious movement preparatory to the ASUP. He joined and led the student movement, Congress of African Students, 1992. Comrade Scala, who was a product of humble beginnings, was a leader of note happy politically in the Progressive Youth Alliance structure. His material conditions, very deep passion for justice, and disdain for inequality and the revolutionary stance, as he rose through the ranks from the branch to provincial leadership center. His political activism was later refined upon joining the ASUP, the same year that led the student movement. He served as the national student
zimbili iyabonakala bukho mntu phaya mabonakala uyisekweni
of the former which is now known as Sarapata. And from the jungle, he has served the and sends deepest condolences to the Njatai family, relatives, comrades, colleagues at Sarabatman district and the broader mass democratic movement formations. Our thoughts and prayers are with them during this difficult time. Hamba kahle Tangan, Khila Mbamba. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable members. Yes, Honorable Van, can you just allow me to finish? Can you please allow me to finish? Honorable members, I put the motion without notice. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Van Bogenrode.
Honourable Speaker. Good morning, Honourable Speaker.
Good morning, Honorable Van Bogenrode.
Just for your attention, the members that are connected virtually cannot hear anything in the House.
I was going to make that announcement because it was brought to my attention that the sound is quite bad. I think that is why they are now putting the roving mics out there, because it was only when they were giving the mic that I could actually even hear what the Chief Whip was saying. Can the technicians please look at that matter and address it, because we are doing a disservice to the members. I'm not even sure if they can hear me, but I can hear myself over here. So I just hope that the other members would be able to have the roving microphones going around. Make sure it is sanitized at all times before handing it to the members, so that we can hear each other. We really apologize for that. I thought, Secretary, that we would have been over this process now already. We will then go to the next motion, the EFF. I was not given an indication who is going to table it. There was just the EFF, that's all. That is the unfortunate thing. Deputy Chief Whip, when we ask these things from the political parties to indicate to us who is going to table the motions, we do not get the names. So seemingly there is no one. Can we then move over to the DA? Also, I was not given, yes, Honorable. No, there's no sound from that mic. We apologize for your moment, Honorable.
Is it fine now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I hereby move without notice in terms of Rule 130 of the standing rules of this House, noting that from the 25th of November to the 10th of December, the international community is engaged in awareness campaigns against violence on women and children. That GBV is a profound and widespread problem in South Africa, impacting almost every aspect of life. GBV,
Can I just ask, Honourable Member, can you just speak up a bit? I think there's still an issue with the sound. Can you just speak up? No, you just continue, but just speak up. Lift your voice.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. GBV is a profound and widespread problem in South Africa, impacting on almost every aspect of life. GBV, which disproportionately affects women and children, is a systematic and deeply entrenched in institutions, cultures and traditions in South Africa. The reality on the ground is that this campaign has not decreased the levels of gender-based violence in our country. The latest police crime statistics reports revealed that 10,006 people were raped between April and June 2021. And further noting that the Eastern Cape is among the provinces that have the high rate of GBV, having areas like Lusikisiki having recorded the highest incidence of rape. KwaZulu, Mthatha and Butterworth were counted among the top 30 GBV hotspots in South Africa by SAPS in the financial year 2019-2020. On the 23rd of November, the acting provincial commissioner released a statement confirming that a police officer allegedly raped a woman inside police premises. The perpetrator did not only violate this young woman, but did so within police premises. This shows the failure of our services to protect women and lack of security within their very premises. The House therefore resolves the government must take all reasonable steps to intensify awareness and proactively fight gender-based violence. All public representatives in the province should take a pledge to commit that they will take steps to actively ensure safer communities for women, build a safer future for our children, and be positive role models in our communities that respect and protect women and children. The Office of the Premier and relevant stakeholders are given the responsibility to spearhead this task. I so move, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. This is a notice of motion. It will then be debated at a later stage. I hope I'm correct.
It is a motion without notice,
Oh,
Honourable
motion
Speaker.
without notice. My apologies, my apologies. Honourable members, I put the motion without notice. Okay, thank you for that. We will go back to the EFF. I've seen that Honourable Tetiana has put on his mic when I had called from the DA. I'm not quite sure, but all of the members were speaking while the member was on the floor. I think that is quite embarrassing. Can we please switch off the mics where we are sitting? Don't put any of the mics on. I think there's just a general problem with the sound today. Honourable Tetiana, are you representing the EFF in the motion? Because your mic was on, or yes, Honourable Member?
We can't hear you, Speaker. You are not audible.
They are saying even I am not audible now.
As soon as the raising hands, as I receive a man.
Can I then have a mic? I was told I must not touch anything here. I am not quite sure now. Okay. Am I now audible? I can't even hear myself over this. Not at all. They have been working since yesterday, testing out, and now today nothing is working. Honourable members, can you hear me now? But the issue is, we might hear, but we need to understand that there's quite a number of members. The bigger bulk of members are in the virtual sitting. Can there just be an indication, honourable members? Can we then go to the EFF to allow you that opportunity, Honourable Tetiana? Nothing is moving on the screen there.
Speaker.
Yes, Honourable.
Speaker.
I can hear you. You may proceed, Honourable Member. Can we please ask all other members that is on virtual to please mute themselves? There is a member, I'm not quite sure who is Bulelwa. I am not sure who is that member. The mic has been open since we started. I see Honourable Tetiana has now muted himself. And we request all other honourable members to please mute themselves on the virtual. Thank you. Yes, Honourable Member.
Yes, there's someone on which line. The human media guest. Speaker.
Honourable Member, can you please speak?
Speaker.
Can we get an indication from any of the other members if they can hear us? Because when I said that they must mute, the members have muted. That means they could actually hear me. I'm not quite sure the other member, if she is not able to hear me. We will then proceed, honourable members. We cannot stand still on one item.
We are making noise here so that we hear what we can't hear anything.
Thank you, Honourable Tetiana. You can mute now. I think we've got the gist that we are not audible on the virtual. Can you please mute, Honourable Tetiana?
I can't mute speaker because you ignored me. It's wrong for you to ignore that. You are impatient with us. When we were speaking to DA, we said we're coming in. You know this process is a problem, but you allowed the meeting to proceed. You are impatient with us.
Honourable Tetiana, can you please mute? If you are the speaker of the
I won't.
Can you then please
I want you to
continue?
temporarily remove us so that we can speak. I won't make it. I want. You rather take me out, I want.
Can whoever is controlling the virtual, can we please mute Honorable Chechana and remove him then from the virtual setting? I think that is the best and
You with us. You should have waited for us to come in. Teams is a problem in Europe. Should have waited before moving to DA.
please ask the secretary.
You need to on the line to speak. We're not going to mute. Take us out if you want to.
Can we please,
You wait to
we have impatient members that do not understand the processes. We are all,
There's nothing to understand when you deliberately refuse us to speak. There's nothing to understand. You were impatient with us. That is what you must acknowledge. Speak.
can we please ask the,
How do you give us? This team has a problem. She knows it.
you are creating a
You
problem.
know it. You know teams is delayed.
Staff,
But in a second after telling us to move to DA. No.
yes, I would also be embarrassed if I was in the house and my members would be acting that way.
We're not embarrassed with ourselves. We're not. You have deliberately refused us to speak. You were impatient.
Understand who from the staff is managing the virtual, and can they please then mute all those members and remove them? Please, it's not that.
You don't remove us. Remove us. You don't care. Remove us. It's okay. You can't refuse us to speak here. You know teams has a problem. How do you... There's no such a thing. We're here. We're not going anywhere. We're here. You're going to give us our time to speak.
You can't. We've been raising our hands here, but you can't
She's not giving us even 1 second.
Our staff
No.
is following orders, those who are managing the teams. And until they do so, we will not be able to proceed. We've asked them to just remove the members from the EFF who is interjecting on the teams. And unless they do that, otherwise we are going to be interjected the whole time. We have given them an opportunity to speak. They opted to rather shout us out.
I am here.
Unfortunate.
Speaker, you
Yes,
gave us
Honorable
less than a second to respond.
No, Speaker, you're giving
I'm not going out. You should have given us time. You know the problem of teams.
Yes, until you sort out this.
You know the problem
I
is right.
Chief Whip,
No, that's Honorable Speaker. I think there's a...
Speaker, I hear you are going to speak. Up until you give us our time to speak, we are going to speak. You can't give us a second. You know teams has a problem. We're not going out.
Now what we would ask,
You can't remove us permanently from this thing. It's unfortunate. We're here. We're not going to... There's no one who must speak here up until we're given our time to speak. We were supposed to speak before DA, and you said it. When we come in, you already...
the opportunity to present their motion so that we proceed smoothly, because we were trying to knock settle everyone. That is just our plea, Honorable Speaker.
I
It can't happen.
They are on another tangent. I have called the EFF on numerous occasions to
happen.
speak. Even now, they do not want to listen.
No.
I have called Honorable Tekana on
Speaker, you were supposed to give us the same time that you gave to DA, you were supposed to give us. You know these things are the problem. We've noted your tendency towards the EFF. We've been observing you. How do you not give us our time?
Maybe when I was...
You're supposed to speak here. You said it yourself. You're busy talking about things that are irrelevant. You're supposed to give us our time and say we must speak. You're busy telling us that we did not submit.
Still continuing to...
Submit what? It does not stop us from speaking if we do not submit a name. There's no such a thing. The time for EFF was allocated. Give us our time. There's no such a thing here.
Tekana, if you just keep quiet, we have been calling you to speak.
Until you give me our time. This is our time. You are not...
I know, man.
The
There's no way, we are not going to allow it, not today. Oh. Equally, this is the lion up.
On the
We've been observing you since the beginning of this term.
We have
You
called,
beg the EFF, whatever to see.
perhaps the
How do you not give us our...
EFF is in the.
You know teams.
Send them a.
You know this thing of teams is got network problems.
Perhaps he is so just focused on one thing, he cannot even
You want to allow
what he
it?
said.
Never. We're not going out of the meeting.
Honorable Tetiana, can you please speak?
Thank you very much.
Tetiana,
Now we
we
are
have been
talking.
calling you, can you
Thank you very
please
much.
speak? For the last 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. Speaker, we rise to deal with the motion that we have prepared. Firstly, we want to extend our condolences to the family of Comrade Skara Ndandai, who is a former Youth League Deputy Secretary, who we have been with before we moved to the EFF. He's the first generation member, or is among the first generation economic freedom fighters. To acknowledge that his passing has dented some of the things that he was working with in that area where he was deployed. We rise, Speaker, in terms of Rule 131, notice of motion, that this House notes the horrific bus accident that claimed the lives of 3 netball players and an official, while 25 other occupants were injured from the OR Tambo district. They are not Amag Mvuyiswa, who was the coach, Pelo Charles, the player, Indi Pile Mpengu, another player, and Tavisile Mkegika, which is another player. That this House knows that the bus was carrying 2 teams, under 21 teams, and the senior team. The teams were heading to the National Netball Championship in the Cape, in the Western Cape. That this House knows that this isn't the first fatal bus accident carrying netball players going to represent the Eastern Cape in the national tournament. That the other fatal bus accident happened in 2005. The bus was carrying 39 members of the Eastern Cape under-17 and under-19 netball team, who were heading to the Winter Games in Potchefstroom, Northwest, when it overturned in the Free State, claiming 3 lives of young sportswomen from the province. Therefore, the House resolves that to have a safer mode of transport to transport young sportswomen who are representing the province in various sports, and to ensure such accidents are avoided. That this House notes and resolves that sponsorship and investment and support to various women's sporting activities in the province. That the provincial government must take responsibility for travel for teams which are participating in national activities. So I move, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I put the notice of motion, it is a notice of motion. We will note it and it will then be debated at a later stage. We will now hand over to Honorable Deputy Chief of Honorable Fishlane, who will do a motion without notice. Can you? Can we please have one mic on that side of the House and one mic on the other side, so we won't have the members, the staff running from one end to the other end.
Honorable Speaker, all right.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 129 and Rule 130 that the House regrettably acknowledges the horrific incident wherein a bus carrying OR Tambo District Netball players and officials en route to the 2021 SPAR Netball Championships overturned near Aberdeen in the early hours of Sunday, the 5th of December 2021. Conveys sincere condolences to the families and sport fraternity following the loss of the 3 players and 1 official in the accident, and wishes a speedy recovery and emotional recovery to all the 25 injured passengers and other occupants of the bus. express relief that 21 of the injured passengers have been discharged from hospital following treatment with minor injuries. Commends the commitment of the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture's commitment to accompanying and supporting the families of the deceased as they face daunting task of identifying the mortal remains of their loved ones today, the 7th of December 2021. Further appreciates the progressive efforts by the department in ensuring that a comprehensive incident report is compiled. This report must serve as a reference for the prevention of future incidents and loss of nature. Highlights the need for the provision of psychosocial support to the team members to ensure that the team's mental health and spirit does not deteriorate. Praise for the strength to prevail over the families of the deceased and the team in its entirety. So I move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I put the motion without notice. Are the members in the House not agreeing to the motion? Thank you, Honourable Members. Thank you so much. We will now go over to the member statements. And may I please remind the honourable members, this is the order. Honourable Deputy Chief Whip will be up first, followed by the EFF, and then followed by the DA. Each member who will make a member statement will do so no longer than 3 minutes. That is important, honourable members. We will, after all of the member statements have been made, we will accord the Honourable Premier with the Executive 5 minutes to respond to each of the member statements. No longer than that. And the Honourable Premier will then indicate to us who he will assign to respond to that. If the Honourable members are not in the House, they will then just open up their mics on the virtual and then will then respond to that. Honourable Deputy Chief Whip, over to you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Speaker, on the issue of the COVID Omicron variant, on the 28th of November 2021, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, announced the progress made on the national effort to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Following a meeting of the National Command Council, the President took to the nation in confidence regarding the latest COVID-19 variant Omicron, which South African scientists and epidemiologists discovered and timelessly reported to the World Health Organization. Whilst expressing our satisfaction with the scientific, technical, and empirical support at the helm of our National Command Council, we register our displeasure at the responses of some countries which have seemingly been quick to ostracize South Africa upon discovery of the new strain. Our sentiments are anchored in the unscientific basis of the enactment of the travel restrictions on African countries following the announcement of this discovery. Given the reality that Omicron variant is set to give impetus to the various fourth wave, we appreciate that research data from South African and international research bodies estimates that vaccination has in past instances, particularly in the third wave, prevented hospitalization and even deaths in fully vaccinated persons. It is estimated that vaccines carry a high infection prevention rate, and in cases where infections do occur, the prosperity of vaccinations to reduce severe symptoms is convincingly high. We urge South Africans to vaccinate as vaccine efficacy has been proven on numerous occasions. We also continue to urge South Africans to continue adhering to the COVID management protocols, which include hand washing, sanitizing, wearing of masks, and maintaining social distance. As the province anticipates scores of holiday makers and those returning home for the festive season, whilst the initiation season is simultaneously well underway, we improve We implore the provincial government to continue dedicating resources towards the mitigation and management of the virus and its dire effects to the communities and economy of the Eastern Cape, and to intensify awareness to indicate the benefit of vaccination and to unvaccinated persons. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Chief Whip. Over to the EFF.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me?
You may proceed,
Can you hear me,
Honorable
Speaker?
Member. You may proceed, Honorable Member, please.
Okay. Greetings, Speaker and the honorable members. On the issue of disability, on HR matters, the annual report for the 2021 period noted that the department's profile, that is the Department of Social Development, on persons with disability set at mere 1.7%, which is mainly made up of 80 males and 46 female employees. According to the Employment Equity Act of 1998, the department, as an organ of state, is part of the designated group of the employees who must implement affirmative action measures which must give preferential treatment to the members of the previous disadvantaged group. Persons with disability fall within the category of employees refers to a designated group. What is the department target for the persons with disabilities? How far is the department from achieving the target? To what extent are the working conditions and circumstances accommodating of the unique needs of the persons with disabilities so that they can achieve their full potential? We must not only broaden the access of the disabled persons' entry into employment, but we must ensure that they succeed and realize the full potential. As you also know that November was the disability month, so ingaba i-department yenza ntoni la ngabantu abaphila ne-disability. Enkosi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. Can we then hand over to the DA?
Honorable Stevenson.
Honorable Stevenson, you are supposed to speak.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. There was interference on Teams and I couldn't hear your call. The need for a beachfront safety sector in the Summerstrand humid area of Nelson Mandela Bay has become critical. The vandalism and destruction of the beachfront infrastructure continue unabated. I'm appealing through you, Honourable Speaker, to the Honourable MEC for Community Safety to intervene. I first raised this in a portfolio committee around 2017-18. The Provincial Commissioner at the time agreed. Sadly, the beachfront sector has not yet been implemented. SAPS is failing the community. When the portfolio committee met with the Provincial Commissioner in Nelson Mandela Bay earlier this year, we were assured that a beachfront safety sector had been implemented. When we met with the humidity station management later that week, they informed us it would be implemented in a matter of days. It still has not happened. Beachfront safety is critical to tourists and residents. Recently, the Lifesavers Club was broken into. Pollution facilities on the beachfront have been rendered inoperable. Murals have been vandalized and electricity cables stolen. A few weeks ago, the whole of Summerstrand was without power for 5 days because of vandalism. This damage pales in comparison to the negative impact of lost tourism revenue. Not only is the area a major tourist attraction, but it is also home to many students, residents, and the elderly. They cannot be held hostage by the criminal element. I'm appealing to the MEC and the department to use their influence to get this beachfront safety sector up and running. The neighborhood watch, the community and municipality can only do so much. It needs on-ground presence from SAP. The local station is very much aware of the need, and it has been reported on numerous occasions by Councillor Ronaldo Gous and various neighborhood watch representatives. Nelson Mandela Bay is the only metro in South Africa that does not have a beachfront safety sector. We need action, and we need it now. In conclusion, let us all work together to build a safer and secure metro by increasing peace availability. Boots on the ground are needed, particularly in the festive season. Let us create open opportunities for people, which comes with job creation that flows from a growing tourism industry. Honourable MEC, will you please help fix this? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Can we then hand over to the Honourable Premier, who will then indicate who the respective MEC is that will assist him. Over to you, Honourable Premier. Before Honourable Premier is speaking, I would also just want the members who are dealing with the teams, it seems to be frozen. And when we heard Honourable Stevenson speaking, there were parts that we could clearly, from where I'm sitting, he just froze and you could not even hear. So I think there's just generally a problem today with the teams that we need to acknowledge, Honourable Chief Whip. Over to you, Honourable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Good morning to you and good morning to all honourable members in the House. On the member statement from Honourable Fihlani, I think we really agree with her on the issues that she has raised, particularly the concern we all have about this reaction by the Western countries punishing us simply because of our effectiveness as a country to detect this Omicron variant of concern. We are working national and international as well as continentally to ensure that the voice of our region is heard and we can't be punished like that. We are working hard, Honourable Speaker, to really prepare ourselves as a province for the fourth wave that we are almost feeling that it is here. I will ask Honourable Mani Lucity to talk on the social development concern which was raised, and also ask Honourable Tikana Gotiwe, if she's there, to speak on the member statement from Honourable Bobby Stevenson. And then I do also note that if it is indeed that is only the Nelson Mandela Bay that has got a lack of that intervention, it will surely be followed up as a matter of urgency and it will be addressed. I can really commit here. I'll definitely make follow up on that myself. But Honourable Manelu City can also deal with that part, and Honourable MEC Tigana Gotiwe to deal with this part from the A. Thank you.
Just hold on. They will take the mic to the.
You can also deal with health. You are acting.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and greetings to the leadership. I think as the Honourable Premier has already appreciated and accepted the member statement on behalf of the Department of Health, we do want to acknowledge that indeed the member statement is correct, factual, and it really demonstrates the depth of the understanding of this leadership of COVID-19. Honourable members, as a province, we are beginning to see a rapid increase in numbers, which suggests that we may be hitting the fourth wave very soon. The epidemiological numbers from this past week alone have seen an increase from 100 to 1,000 cases recorded, especially in our Buffalo City and Nelson Mandela Metro. Our Department of Health is really strengthening its resurgence response, which includes the reactivating of the teams that continue to conduct surveillance on COVID-19, contact tracing, monitoring, whilst encouraging the use of non-pharmaceutical intervention and ramping up our vaccination population. It is therefore correct, and as we know, and the Honourable Member has stated, that we will be seeing scores of people coming into the province during this festive season, and most will be travelling from provinces which already have high numbers of infection. It is therefore true that we need to focus on communicating with our communities on the state of readiness, on the NPI alert and so on. The Department of Health is also reviewing the readiness of our health facilities to ensure the issues of oxygen supply, availability of beds and so on, to also ensure early admission of those that need hospitalization to try and decrease the spread. On the other hand, we are still continuing with the vaccination program to ensure that, as the member has said, if people are vaccinated, they stand a good chance of having less severe infection, less hospitalization, and less deaths. Once again, we call upon honourable members, as leaders of their different constituencies, to help us with the community mobilization, health promotion, and general awareness to arrest the tide, as we demonstratively did in the previous waves. Thank you very much. As far as the member statement on people living with disabilities, as the Department of Social Development, in line with its mandate of protecting and empowering the most vulnerable within our societies, we have various programs that target specifically the sector of people living with disabilities, their empowerment through their protective workshops, economic empowerment, and linking up their cooperatives with the supply chain processes and supporting and funding them. But further, the provincial government, as far as meeting the employment quota on people living with disabilities, has taken a proactive approach in engaging the various forums of the sector of people with disabilities, in looking at some of the bottlenecks that hinder the accessibility of employment opportunities by people living with disabilities. Because the issue is not only that of the Department of Social Development, and without trying to preempt the annual report of the department, we are seeing a small increase in the employment percentage of people living with disabilities. As provincial government, we need to go beyond the encouraging of people living with disabilities to apply, but look at what other impediments and bottlenecks that exist on government as a whole. Because indeed, the development and empowerment of people living with disabilities is all our responsibility, and also it does not only speak on them applying, but how do we empower, how do we equip them so that they are in a position to take the opportunities that are made available by our government. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Premier, I'm not sure, is there an indication of Honourable Tikane Totowe is in the House? I have not seen the name. Perhaps she is registered under her device, I'm not sure. You have a few minutes left still for your 15 minutes. Yes, just Honourable Premier, thank you so much, Honourable MEC, you may proceed.
Our plan is incorporated plan launched of the Nelson of our own importance and priority that all our business safe, how important to have to incorporate our plan with the Nelson Mandela Honorable Speaker,
The problem is, Secretary, the problem is not because I can clearly hear on the Teams, it is the relaying of information from the virtual into the House where the challenge is today. You may proceed, Honourable Member.
We have had a number of this for this year as trainings were not taking place, but we'll try and integrate our plans and our human resource with the members of the Metropolis of the Nelson Mandela, as it is our priority that we have to police all our beaches in the province, especially those who are welcoming many tourists during this time of the season. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. That brings to an end the member statements. I will now ask the Secretary to read the first order of the day. What is your point of order? Can you quote for me the rule?
Speaker, I just want to bring to your attention that under Program E, that the Honourable CS name is referring there to inclusion. It's just a typo.
Honourable Van.
And never speak.
You really have floored me now, Honourable Van Buchenrode. Honestly now. Really. No, Honourable Van Buchenrode, please.
Speaker.
Honourable Member, what is your point of order? We are now moving on to the first order of the day. Honourable Member, what is your point of order? She has muted herself now, although her hand is raised. Let me just see if members are saying again they cannot hear.
Speaker.
Honourable Member, you may proceed.
I think it's a delayed feed from inside.
I'm not supposed to put my, let me just see. Honourable Member, can you hear me? You may proceed. Yeah, it will do that when I put on the device here. So, the Honourable Member has dropped her hand now. May we then proceed? Let's hope that we can, the technicians can really resolve this. Things are not going that smooth today. Over to you, Secretary, to read the first order of the day, because I think everybody wants to hear the MEC of Finance tabling the adjustment, the combined statements, as well as the introduce the finance bill today. Over to you, Secretary.
Introduction of Provincial Adjustments Appropriation Bill 2021, Eastern Cape.
Thank you, Secretary. I now call upon the MEC for Finance to introduce the Provincial Adjustments Appropriation Bill 2021. You are carrying very heavy on those books with you, MEC. MEC Mvoko, over to you. We have allocated you an hour to do all three. You will spread your hour amongst the three tablings that you will be doing. But over to you, Honourable MEC Mvoko.
Thank you very much.
Speaker.
Am I
Just-
audible?
The QS media guest, can he or she unmute because we can't hear? If we are using the QS media,
They are
can
saying
you
that
please
it's-
unmute? We can't hear.
Yes, I think because on the system it
Speaker.
shows. Honorable member, I get what you are saying. We are just trying to resolve that. It says that there that you are muted, Honorable MEC. Can those technicians please assist us? Because it says you are muted on the Kiwa media. That is why they can't hear you when you were speaking. Whoever is managing
Not
this
certain which
media,
one is Kiwa
can they please unmute? Otherwise, is there nobody in the house? Yes, honorable member, we've heard you. We are trying to resolve the issue.
And can't look at it.
We are supposed to have from the Kiwa media, we are supposed to have technicians of them. I see Honorable Deputy Chief Whip is becoming a technician here today. If you are going to put on that mic, then there is going to be the echo that we are getting. I see all of this, the secretariat have jumped up, but nobody is coming back to inform us. Can we just wait a minute or so that we can just get a sense of what is happening? Perhaps, let me see if you can try now. I'm not sure if I should rather hand you this mic.
I think so.
Let me first mute and just spray for you.
From Quebec, I can't trust you.
Now the MEC is saying because I'm from Quebec, you cannot trust me. And we are both from Somerset for that matter nogal, né?
My apologies, Speaker. Is this one audible? Is this audible now? Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of the Executive Council,
You just speak up, Honorable MEC.
Honorable
Chop
members
Stewart's voice.
of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, traditional leaders, religious leaders.
It's not even picking up, the feed is not even
It's not
picking
picking
up.
up.
No, the feed is not even picking
Not even now.
up. Not now.
It's got nothing to do with my voice.
No,
I can
now the
promise.
voice is not, there's nothing picking
I
up
was
here.
once a shop steward, so my voice can be as loud as I would want it to be.
Wait, can we
I will hear
because
from
the
you.
members on the virtual cannot see you, neither can they hear you.
Can't see me. They don't have to see me. They have to listen to hear me. Don't worry about seeing.
Can we get an understanding? Anybody on that side could possibly hear you?
It's even more.
Yes. Yes. There's one of the other honorable members are saying that they are not part of the meeting, those on the virtual. On YouTube and live streaming, everything is well, the sound is well, it is only on the Teams. I'm from the connection between the members and ourselves. Deputy Chief Whip?
Let us ask just for 2 minutes if they can, just for 2 minutes, so that they can, because apparently dismissed is out of the teams. The IT person, so I'm saying this one is arranged. So that's why I'm saying 2 minutes so that we finalize.
Our sincere apologies, MEC, for that, and to the members. Deputy Speaker, we are experiencing problems. Honorable members, I am not sure if you can hear me. I am on my device now. We are experiencing problems. Can we just have, I'm not sure if members can hear me now, but we are experiencing problems with the feed between the House and the virtual teams. They are trying to resolve it. We are just asking for a minute or two. I see Deputy Speaker is acknowledging he can hear me if I speak on the device. So I'm not quite sure if we should just go onto the device. If they could then switch off that, and then we will. I'm not sure that if everybody's got the device with this. Well, this should always be our plan B when we get into the House with a hybrid. Because once that comes on the sound, there will be a huge disruption. MEC Mvoko, do you have your teams? Can you go in there and possibly log in to the link? And let's do it. Let's do our fallback on plan B. I do not know the service provider. I just see cameras up here, but I don't see anybody running up and down and doing anything. Like endless chickens, Premier. At least no one is howling now. That's very good. Because the people who are howling are quiet now. We are doing that option, so we will then have to make sure that all of us are connected on our devices, but we will then have to mute and put it on, yes, so that the sound don't echo in here from each and every one. Can somebody help the MEC to get this link? I don't even want to touch this mic, but this one is not working the whole day. Are you there? So just switch off the mic, and so we won't use the mic now.
No, I'm just hoping this
Yes.
is the correct link. Somebody it says connecting.
Are you in MEC? I still can't see you.
Not yet.
Not yet.
To say connecting.
No, it's not the mic. He is connecting on the device. We will be speaking on the device, not with the mic now, because it's going to create an echo, a huge echo. So we are just leaving that. So he will, anybody that will then speak will have to use their devices or their smartphones so that we can at least see their faces and speak. We are just trying to, we cannot adjourn this meeting. We need to continue, but we need to have a fallback. If you can just log in as a guest, is it connecting? Could I offer you my device?
Somebody, not a problem.
I can't spray my but I can spray my hands. I have sprayed it.
So this one I will pardon you because you're assisting me. Thank you very much.
Then if you can, we will see how we figure it out. Can Deputy Chief of can you just see if you can see the MEC now? Okay, he will use my device then.
Thank you.
Once again, don't use the mic. Speak through the mic of the device.
Thank you.
And just put
Am
it.
I audible in the house?
You just put it louder, yes, because it's on very soft.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Good afternoon, Molweni, Kuyamera. It's going to be a bit tricky, but I will try my best. It is with great honor and privilege that I table before this noble House the 2021 adjusted estimates of the provincial revenue and expenditure, the 2021 medium-term budget policy statement, and the 2021 adjusted
Just shift the device a bit, MEC, so your face. That's it.
Thank you very much. Don't worry about my face. It's a bit of a struggle. The Gazette dealing with the transfer payments to municipalities, schools and hospitals will be published on the Government Gazette printer's website on the 13th of December 2021. Honorable Speaker, we're tabling this mini budget and at the back of activities that will have a lasting influence in our social and economic environment. As we look back at the past 3 waves of COVID-19 pandemic, it is clear to all that these have had a devastating effect on our economy. The Eastern Cape, being one of the most rural and highly impoverished provinces in the country, we suffered severely and we continue to. Many businesses lost revenue, some closed down, and our people lost jobs. This reflects the extent of economic devastation that we have suffered, which has put a further strain on our fiscal environment. We cannot go back to our old ways of doing things. We should now be preoccupied with speedy, efficient and effective implementation of government policies and programs, whose sole purpose is to change the lives of Honorable Speaker, our economy has been impacted by both the global and national trends. As such, our economy is stagnant. Key sectors of our economy are struggling to pull through. Unemployment numbers are growing and we're experiencing a government-wide budget deficits. Unemployment rate in the province is standing at 47.4% in Q3 of 2021 compared to 45.8% in Q3 of 2020. It is up by 0.3 percentage points when compared to the previous quarter. For non-metros, joblessness rate is at 51.6%, while our metros, Buffalo City and Nelson Mandela, are currently sitting at about 40%. Notwithstanding these devastating numbers, we have witnessed our national and provincial economic growth rates beginning to improve, recording 44.7% and 3.4% annualized in Q2 of 2021, respectively. For the full year, National Treasury expects the national economy to grow by 5.1% in 2021, whilst the provincial economy is expected to follow on a similar recovery path at about 3.6%. I'm not certain now, I'm getting myself speaking here to myself. If they could only remove the guest part of Kiwa's media. Kiwa's media must remove that guest with my face. Kiwa's media must remove that guest with my face. That's why I'm getting the feedback.
Yes, I can see the. Is there anybody from this Kiwa's media in the house, Advocate Beja, that can assist us?
Thank you very much. They've removed it, Honorable Speaker. It's now gone. Honorable Speaker, the 2021 medium-term main policy priorities are economic recovery and fiscal consolidation as we tread these uncharted territories. Now they can't hear. Abaninzi balapha bambalwa abangaphandle abaninzi balapha phakathi.
Somebody muted you now.
Yeah, somebody muted me. Can you hear me now? Thank you. Somebody muted me.
Yes, you are back.
Madam Speaker, our fiscal outlook remains constrained owing to a number of factors including slow economic recovery, public sector wage increases, and high expenditure in 2021 and 21-22 financial years. That was as a result of countering the effects of COVID-19 on public health, livelihoods, and the economy. We are however living in hope that the increases on tax revenue collections, as reported by National Treasury, will be sustained to have positive yields into our fiscal space. The 2022 medium-term provincial fiscal framework reflects a total fiscal envelope of 251,938 million, consisting of a provincial equitable share, conditional grants, and provincial-owned receipts. Our spending is already a notch higher than our income. Provincial-owned revenue has in the past cushioned us against this discrepancy. The province continued with the enhancement of provincial-owned revenue emanating from the outcomes of a research that was conducted on the implementation of new sources of provincial-owned revenue. There are key departments to this identified to drive this. Those are the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, Department of Transport, Department of Health, and the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Health and Affairs and Tourism. We therefore need to work together to safeguard our fiscal resources. This time calls for everyone to join in the path of fiscal consolidation if we are to find balance between our spending and income. It is through the fiscal path we have adopted that we can reduce the budget deficit and stabilize the debt to GDP ratio. It is worth noting, honorable members, that we are in this conundrum after experiencing budget cuts as a result of budget reprioritization by National Treasury. As such, the province has lost 26.115 billion since 2013-14 financial year, and we have again lost 28.25 billion over the 2021 MTF, bringing the total to 54.4 billion due to fiscal consolidation, cost of living adjustment, and data updates on the provincial equitable share. You would notice that in those years from 2013, 2014 financial year up to 2020, we've lost 26.15. But if you look at what we've lost in this MTF, it is 28.245 billion, and that is an indication that it is going to be tough going forward. We are, however, happy that the national government has deployed a range of fiscal and monetary measures to cushion us against the cost of public sector wage agreement and pressing socio-economic challenges. This is why it is important that we all make strategic choices in light of the current pandemic and limited resources as we move towards economic recovery. Honourable members, this year's mini budget reflects a slight increase in our equitable share to fund the non-negotiables. Our conditional grant funding has also marginally increased. In the 2021-22 adjustment budget, the total adjustment shows an additional amount of 3.793 billion allocated to the 2021-22 main budget. It takes our provincial budget adjusted appropriation to 86.401 billion. As indicated, this increase is due to additional allocations of 1,991 million to implement the 2021-22 wage agreement of the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council and 898.091 million for the Presidential Youth Empowerment Initiative. Over 113 million was added to our conditional grants, increasing it from 13.296 billion rand to the adjusted amount of 13.409 billion rand. Honourable members, our focus over the medium term will be to accelerate the rollout of our economic reconstruction and recovery plan to ignite growth. At the core of this plan is to improve investment on economic infrastructure and setting up industrial base for manufacturing to enable equitable and inclusive transformation, digitalization, and public finance. The East London IDZ recently announced 3.3 billion worth of private sector investment into the East London-based special economic zone. The 16 new investing companies are part of the East London IDZ's efforts to accelerate the localization of local content and are linked to MBSA's new C-Class project. The 16 automotive investors whose collective job creation potential is more than 2,000 jobs have already started operating from their new facilities and are supplying MBSA with various automotive components. This bodes well for the province's efforts towards deepening the automotive value chain. The support schemes made available by government to aid the growth of this sector are proving to be the suitable catalyst needed for the growth of the automotive sector. I'm certain that many of you have seen when we're unveiling with the Premier the 16 more automotive investors in the East London IDZ. In the current financial year, through private investment, the Kucha SEZ has already signed an investment to the tune of 161.760 million rands with 7 private sector companies in various sectors, creating 229 job opportunities. We're also ahead with the infrastructure development for the establishment of the agro-processing sector development in the Wild Coast region towards the regional economic development and agricultural sector development. You would all know that we are starting a new SEZ in the Wild Coast. The Wild Coast SEZ development program is at an implementation stage as the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition approved the platform as an industrial park for now. And as the investment pipeline matures, we'll be pushing for SEZ designation. Because of the investment pipeline, it cannot be at this stage declared as an SEZ, but as it picks up, it will then be declared as an SEZ. The province has invested 35 million rand for security fencing for the demarcated industrial platform for development, and the installation of high security fencing is at 90%. And so far, 6 SMMEs have been appointed and subcontractors and 50 people have been employed. The DTIC has further approved 49 million rand from their critical infrastructure fund for the rollout of bulk infrastructure. We have so far secured our 4 investors with an investment value of 1.07 billion rand, which is projected to create 968 operational jobs. Once fully operational, the Wild Coast SEZ will give the economy of the Eastern Cape, of the eastern side of our province, a competitive advantage, considering that these kinds of initiatives were only found at the border and the western side of our provinces. Honorable members, as we open up industries and opportunities to ignite economic growth and job creation, we also understand that there is an urgent need for business support in the form of capital investment. For far too long, there's been an outcry over the lack of finance instruments to assist the emerging businesses. In an effort to address this, provincial government is now at an advanced stage of establishing a development fund, whose purpose is to improve accessibility to financial support. Details of how this development fund is designed will be articulated during the main appropriation in March 2022. Honorable members, in the 2022 MTF, provincial government will undergo supply chain management reforms that seek to promote a timeous delivery of services, but also ensuring quality and value for money. Over the years, we have observed a bad habit where departments would roll out their procurement plans very late in the financial year, which sometimes will lead to underspending, fiscal dumping, or poor service delivery. To address this, departments now will be obligated to finalize their procurement plans a year prior to the year of implementation and also align them with the budget. In fact, at the beginning of this financial year, when all departments tabled their procurement plans, the Executive Council took a decision that they must all go back and redraft their procurement plans, such that in the last quarter, you don't still find departments that have to approve specifications or do awards on the last quarter, and that has assisted us. But going forward, this will be the norm. Madam Speaker, it is worth reiterating that we are a recurring government, and as such, our budget for 2022 MTF will remain pro-poor. Our spending will continue to focus on improving access to education, healthcare, and social services, consistent with government priorities. Consequently, the social sector is estimated to receive 199.180 billion of the total provincial allocations of 248.562 billion over the 2022 MTF, in case people would think that they would receive that in the next financial year. Of our total provincial allocation for the 2022 MTF, an estimated amount of 24.940 billion will be spent on infrastructure, with departments of transport, health, education, and human settlement accounting for about 89% of that allocation. We therefore implore all our institutions to make informed choices that prioritizes the lives of our people in light of the current pandemic and the limited resources. Similarly, our budgets must align with the needs of society. Details of how this budget will be used and managed will be communicated in March next year. Honorable members, for the 2021-22 adjusted budget, the Department of Education's budget has been adjusted upwards by 2.268 billion to a total adjusted appropriation of 37.344 billion. Key to mention on this is that we have allocated an amount of 841.591 million to the Department for Employment of Education Assistance and General Schools Assistance at public, ordinary and public special schools in the province. This is through the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. Other funds will cater for learner-teacher support material, compensation of employees, and payment of creditors. Honourable Speaker and members, the COVID-19 that keeps on changing the goalposts continues to disrupt our lives. With now a new variant that our scientists have recently discovered, its side effects into our economy are that it requires us to reprioritize our budget to support our response strategy. Our optimal response seeks to build upon the interventions that were initiated at the beginning of 2020-2021.
He is muted again.
Yes, my apologies, somebody continues to mute me. Our optimal response seeks to build upon the interventions that were initiated at the beginning of 2020-21 when 1.039 billion was allocated to the Department of Health for the rollout of vaccines. In this regard, for the 2021-22 adjusted budget, the Department of Health's budget is adjusted upwards by 1.344 billion rand to a total adjusted appropriation of 27.774 billion. Of this amount, 45.460 million is allocated to the department as part of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative for health staff and nurses providing assistance in the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines and attending to duties in high care units. We also allocated an additional funding of 369.728 million for the COE and non-COE cost pressures experienced by the department, with the condition that the department prioritizes the payment of SMMEs who have rendered services to the department to address pressures resulting from the 2020-21 accruals and payables. Whilst rightly reprioritizing our budget to improve health outcomes, we are concerned that the provincial government continues to spend an ever-increasing proportion of its financial resources on settling medical legal claims. The domino effect of this is that we are diverting funds otherwise meant for delivering health services. We are, however, putting strategies in place to overcome the situation. I will share details on this in our budget in March 2022. In consideration of the extent of social ills that we are facing as society, the number of service points and the nature of services provided, we deemed it necessary that we give support to the Department of Social Development. The support is even more befitting as the country commemorates the 16 days of activism and no violence against women and children. In this regard, 11.040 million has been added to their equitable share for the purposes of appointing more social workers, a move that is also aimed at addressing the backlog of unemployed social worker graduates. We've also reprioritized 102.230 million to cater for the department's COE cost pressures. Additionally, we allocated an amount of 26.611 million to the subsidy component of the Early Childhood Development Grant to address the shortfall from phase 1 of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. Honourable Speaker and members, the only way our people can feel the service delivery pulse is through good governance and accountability, and rid the state of unethical conduct, including corruption. From a governance point of view, audit outcomes are the only independent index to use when measuring good governance. Although difficult to prove a relationship between good governance and service delivery, it is, however, critical that we place good governance at the core of our service delivery value chain to bridge the trust deficit between the state and its citizens that is accumulated over years. We are, however, pleased to report that there has been a slight improvement in our audit outcomes, with now 4 of the 14 departments from 2 having now received clean audit outcomes. 7 received unqualified audit opinions with findings, while 3 received qualified audit opinions during the 2020-21 audit period. The Departments of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, and Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs are the two departments that improved from unqualified with findings to clean audits. Increased support is being given to move the only three qualified departments, which is health, education, and transport, to unqualified audit in the medium term. We are hopeful that these departments will get clean audits at some point in time during the MTF. We're encouraged by the performance of the public entities, as out of 11 of these entities, 7 received clean audit outcomes and 4 were qualified with findings. We can all agree that the local government is the only sphere of government that is at the coalface of service delivery. I'm reiterating this cliche, Madam Speaker and honorable members, in a desperate attempt to identify the relationship between the state of service delivery and the poor turnout that we saw during the local government elections. As the new collective leadership assumes their work at local government, it is critical that they focus their work on ridding local government of all the bad habits that would compromise the functionality of our municipalities. For any municipality to function adequately, these pillars, financial health, institutional functionality, governance, and service delivery, must be protected. These are the issues that require urgent attention as the new leadership enters the space, including the non-collection of revenue and non-payment of municipal debt by household and government departments, monies owed by municipalities to ESCOM and other state institutions, poor budgeting and financial management practices. Provincial Treasury, working with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, commits to continue assisting municipalities. Honourable members, as we continue to the end of the 2021-22 financial year, it is critical that we continue to make difficult choices, utilize the resources allocated in an optimal manner, and ensure accountability for non-performance. This requires astute management and leadership. On the day we are tabling the adjustment budget, we are also calling on all leadership to be worthy stewards of the budget appropriated to their institutions for the good of our Eastern Cape citizens. These are hard times. We need to make the right choices that befall from the love that we have for this province and her people. The choices we make today will shape the trajectory of our province. Our people have shown that they are willing to make sacrifices for the good of the country, especially at the time when the world was being ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic. We have done well as the Eastern Cape to manage the spread of the pandemic, mainly due to our people adhering to protocols that are placed to fight its spread. I want to say to our people, you have demonstrated strength, resilience, and fortitude during the worst times, and we remain indebted to you for all the sacrifices you have made. We also appeal to those who have not vaccinated to assist government by taking part in our vaccination program, as this will strengthen our economic recovery initiative. Honourable Speaker, allow me the schedules of the budget adjustment estimate by each department are attached. I thank you. You said I must go through all of them.
Committee on Finance and Provincial Expenditure in terms of Rule 156. I will now call upon the Secretary to read the second order of the day. Advocate Beja.
Taking of combined financial statements for the year ended March 2021.
I call upon the MEC for Finance to table the combined annual financial statements for the year ending 31st of March 2021. Over to you, MEC Mvoko.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Premier, Honourable members and members of the Executive Council. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege for me to present to this House a set of combined financial statements of the provincial departments, including the legislature and the public entities for the 2020-21 financial year. As leaders of this province, entrusted with managing public resources we have an obligation to give feedback on the provincial financial results and financial position as of 31st March 2021 to those who have mandated us in terms of Section 19.3 and 4 of the PFMA. It is our responsibility to always demonstrate that the money we manage on behalf of the public is not wasted through irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure and corrupt practices, but rather used to accelerate service delivery to the people of this province. The combined financial statements that we are tabling today reflect the progress we have made to realize one of the key objectives of this province, which is to ensure effective financial management that promotes transparency and accountability to its citizens. 4 of the 14 departments received clean audit outcomes, 7 received unqualified audit opinions with findings, while 3 received qualified audit opinions with Department of Education, Health and Transport. Of the 11 entities, 7 entities received clean audit outcomes and 4 were unqualified with findings. This is an improvement when compared to the previous year. 2 departments, Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, and Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs improved from an unqualified audit opinion with findings to unqualified audit opinion with no findings. That is clean audits. All 11 entities remained unqualified in the 2020-21 audit cycle. The 3 departments give a clear indication that we still need to work hard in order to realize the goal we set for ourselves by ensuring that control environment is strengthened in the departments and that preventative controls are in place for improved financial and performance reporting, compliance with the legislation, and ultimately achieving 100% clean administration. We will endeavor to strengthen our support to these departments to make sure that their audit outcomes improve. This improvement will be demonstrated when all 3 qualified departments receive unqualified audit opinions in the medium term, as well as at least 4 additional departments receiving clean audits. We are encouraged with the audit outcome of the combined financial statements for the public entities as they have retained the unqualified audit opinion. The progress in improvement of the audit outcomes is hampered by failure of accounting officers to effectively implement the action plans to address root causes of the qualifications, as well as non-compliance with the prescripts and regulations, especially on supply chain management, resulting in irregular expenditure. Whilst Treasury and the Office of the Premier are putting a lot of effort to clear irregular expenditure in the province, there has, however, been an increase from 6.38 billion rand in the year 2019-2020 to 6.44 billion rand in the 2020-2021 financial year. The province will only succeed in curbing irregular expenditure if a culture of accountability can be entrenched, including implementation of consequence management for contravention of the SAM prescripts and other legislation. Leadership must therefore adopt a culture of zero tolerance to poor performance, transgression of the law, and regression of the audit outcomes. I must therefore congratulate my colleagues who have improved on the audit outcomes, but also warn that a lot of work and sustainable interventions need to be taken to ensure that there is no regression in the audit outcomes. Honourable Speaker, much work still needs to be done to bring all departments and entities to the level of clean audits. While a number of accounting officers have pledged to improve the 21-22 audit outcomes from unqualified with findings to clean audit, the same should be measured on the impact they have made to improve the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape. I know that my colleagues at the Executive Council share my view that a lot of work still needs to be done, hence the audit improvement will remain our focus. We must welcome the strides made at various quarters of the province towards the same goal, in particular the esteemed members of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts and the Auditor General for keeping us on our toes on the issues of the audit. Honourable Speaker, I hereby table the combined financial statements for the 2020-21 financial year as required by Section 19, subsection 3 of the PFMA. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MEC. The statement stands referred to the Portfolio Committee on Finance and Provincial Expenditure and the Standing Committee on Public Accounts in terms of Rule 156. I will ask the Secretary to read the third order of the day.
Introduction of the Eastern Cape Finance.
Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me thank you for the opportunity afforded us to table the finance bill of 2021 for consideration.
Your voice is so low.
Is it? I hope you can hear me now. Members of the House will recall that the process leading to the tabling of the finance bill is overseen by the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. The committee deliberated on the matters arising from the unauthorized expenditure and issued SCOPA resolutions. Guided by the SCOPA resolutions, Treasury then prepared what must be tabled as the finance bill before this House. We are here today to table the finance bill for unauthorized expenditure totaling to 287.028 incurred by the Department of Education in respect of the 2019-2020 financial year. With regards to the Department of Education, the unauthorized expenditure arose from the overspending on compensation of employees as a result of budget cuts, which were a necessary means introduced by the then Minister of Finance in order to curb spending patterns and to improve the economy. The cuts were made across all departments, and this resulted in departments having to make improvisation with available budget and amend their plans accordingly. Therefore, these budget cuts under compensation of employees were considered to be beyond the department's control, and educators needed to be paid for their services. Following due processes, which included the verification of supporting documents to validate the reasons given, SCOPA considered the unauthorized expenditure incurred by the department and recommended to the House that a total of amount of 287.028 be funded through the finance bill. This amount will be funded from the revenue fund, which has sufficient funds available to fund the total amount. SCOPA has correctly resolved that some of the accountability must be enforced against those responsible for incurring unauthorized expenditure. We agree fully with these resolutions, as we must encourage high levels of financial management discipline at all times in the public sector. The improved audit outcomes that we received in the previous financial year should serve as a motivation to ensure that our financial year should serve as a motivation to ensure that our financial management systems do not allow for incidences such as unauthorized expenditure to be incurred in the first place. These deviations will be a thing of the past if all of us work together to eradicate them from our respective departments. Leadership should lead the task of advancing clean governance. It starts with us. Honorable Speaker, I must once again thank the guidance from the Standing Committee on Public Accounts and the House in overseeing this process. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. And thank you for returning my device. Honorable members, I will now ask the Secretary to read the fourth order of the day.
Secretary to read reports of the ones on annual and half-year financial oversight reports.
Honorable members, please do take note that I've been informed that the decisions taken by the Multi-Party Whips Committee, that each chairperson has only been allocated 10 minutes to table their reports, and that the members of the Executive Council each have got 10 minutes to respond to the debate at the end. Please make sure that you have prepared yourselves accordingly so that we don't shut you down whilst you are still far from dealing with your final and general recommendations. We will now deal with the consideration of the reports for the Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier, and I then call upon Honorable Mkhaga. We will also deal with the SPU report, and Honorable Gabe will deal with that after Honorable Mkhaga. They are both given 10 minutes to table their reports. Over to you, honourable members.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker.
Are you not connected to any device, Honourable Mgaga?
No. Andizoconnectwa ke ndozakuthi. Andibhetele yam into. Bhetele igqudu lam mna.
Okay. I just went out of my other device, so I will have to give you my one again.
Serious?
No, not the mic. Unfortunately, Honourable Mgaga, you just have to speak. Can somebody just assist? Oh, Secretary will give you hers. Thank you. Just bear with us, just a minute, members. We're just trying to improvise. Can we see your face first and just adjust it? Just move your other device so we can at least see your face. On my side, I still don't see the honourable member. Is it the video? Open up the video.
I'm not sure what's happening.
I think there's a network issue.
Network.
Let's do the fallback. If we can just, but why are we seeing Honourable Van Vieren's face? Yes, please. This thing is using such. Is there no space here? If you are connected, Secretary, you should just be able to open up.
I don't know what's happening to my page.
Is that which one is that? Oh, okay, just open. Let me see this one. This one goes. This one is the. The phone is almost gone. Still eats your battery when you are out. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, and the members of the executive, honorable members of this august house. To comply with your advice that we have been allocated few minutes for this program.
10 minutes to be exact.
10 minutes.
Yes, and it's 11:50 now, so at 12 you need to be finished.
I take it that honorable members had an opportunity to go through these reports. So reports are going to be taken as read. Mine is just to go through general recommendation of the annual report, then followed by the general recommendation of the financials. The OTP must ensure that the provincial government sets realistic and achievable targets And in cases where targets are not met, recovery plans are in place to ensure the achievement of planned targets. B, the Office of the Premier must ensure that all PPE corruption cases are brought to the attention of law enforcement agencies and are dealt with. A process report must be provided to the committee. The Honorable Premier must instruct the Director General and Head of Department of all provincial departments to change the picture of their departments by employing more capable women at the SMS level. The Office of the Premier must honor and implement the pronouncements that were tabled during the State of Provincial Address, that is SOPA, and ensure that they are achieved before the end of the financial year. I'm proceeding to the general findings of financials.